Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we're out in the sun, beautiful day. Feels like British summer. And all the planes are flying overhead, so don't worry, we're not in a war zone or anything, in case you're making the wrong impression. So where are we reading from?
Canto 4, Chapter 5, Text 22.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Right, verse 22. Then Virabhadra, the giant-like personality, sat on the chest of Daksha and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful.
Lord have mercy.
Text 23. He tried to cut the head of Daksha with hymns as well as weapons, but still it was hard to cut even the surface of the skin of Daksha's head. Thus Virabhadra was exceedingly bewildered. Text 24. Then Virabhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial arena by which the animals were to have been killed. He took the opportunity of this facility to behead Daksha. Purport in this connection is to be noted that the device used for killing animals in the sacrifice was not designed to facilitate eating their flesh. The killing was specifically intended to give a new life to the sacrificed animal by the power of Vedic mantra. The animals were sacrificed to test the strength of Vedic mantras. Yajnas were performed as a test of the mantra. Even in the modern age, tests are executed on animal bodies in the physiology laboratory. Similarly, whether or not the Brahmanas were uttering the Vedic hymns correctly was tested by sacrifice in the arena. On the whole, the animals that sacrificed were not at all the losers. They might think they were. Some old animals would be sacrificed, but in exchange for their old bodies, they received other new bodies. That was the test of Vedic mantras. Virabhadra, instead of sacrificing animals with the wooden device, immediately beheaded Daksha to the astonishment of everyone. I think Virabhadra might have gone a bit too far.
What?
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Daksha was a little bit out of order, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, what a way to end a party, really. Word. Sat on his chest, tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, tried to recite some hymns. That sounds so cool though, doesn't it? Okay, I can't cut your head off, so then start to do some hymns and that, some mantras and tantras. Okay, that don't work. And then you look around and you're like, oh, there's a wooden tool, wooden device used to, you know, sort out the animals. So when you try that, I mean, it's quite an amazing. And I love this chapter. I love this whole pastime. Anyway, that's it.
I mean, someone might ask, you know, it's like, what is all this? You know, I thought this was meant to be a spiritual book, you know. One might pose such a question.
Yes.
And be a little bit confused that, you know, you've got two persons who are to greater or lesser extent, which this relationship hasn't been mentioned. Of course, Daksha is the father-in-law of Lord Shiva, but they're also both kind of brothers, because they were both born from Lord Brahma. Prajapati Daksha would have come from Brahma, I suppose, and then of course Lord Shiva was born from the brow of Brahma. So they're brothers. You know, there's just like serious feuding, and now this demon's just trying to hack off his head. Not to mention the actual conversation that's been put forward in the purport, which is that about animal sacrifice, which at best most people will just not get at all. Because whenever I even say the word sacrifice amongst mixed, audience, you have to be very careful to, like even if we say we're doing a fire sacrifice, just the word sacrifice amongst Western people implies sacrificing some kind of animal and blood, drinking blood, or sacrificing a virgin on the altar, or sacrificing some, it's like, it's a derogatory term. So here you hear that animals were sacrificed in Vedic yajnas, and that they're meant to get a new body, and that's the test of the mantra. And I guess because it's a little magical, mystical, hard to fathom or hard to believe, it's like one of those things like, okay, so but even from our philosophy, it's sort of like, okay, so you're going to kill an animal to give it a new body, when our philosophy is more or less, if you die, you want to get no new body, you want to get delivered back. So it might be even easier to believe if it was like, if they were used and sacrificed during a yajna, then there wouldn't be a new body, because they would be delivered for sacrificing themselves in the sacrifice, or they didn't sacrifice themselves, but for being sacrificed in a sacrifice kind of thing. So it is a little confusing in general. I mean, we accept it that that's as it is, that the animal is killed, but the animal then kind of comes out the other side of the fire with a new body. So that's the power of mantra, the power of sound vibration. But it definitely could be very confusing to the layman who just opens up the book and starts reading about these people fighting. It can also be very attractive.
Entertaining.
And in an entertaining sense, because I'm sure some of the most popular films out there are, gore. There's always some blood and gore, a good guy, a bad guy, somebody killing somebody else, and not what to speak of horror films, which are just basically that kind of thing. So everybody loves a good fight, I guess. Okay, so now we're
25.
Oh, so it's just 2 more verses without purports. Okay, text 25. Upon seeing the action of Virabhadra, the party of Lord Shiva was pleased and cried out joyfully, and all the bhutas, ghosts, and demons that had come made a tumultuous sound. On the other hand, the brahmanas in charge of the sacrifice cried out in grief at the death of Daksha. Yeah, it reminds me of like class this morning by Sheshguru was talking about how, where he was using the term of cricket, and if someone hits, I think he said it's called a 6. Then I presume that's equivalent to American baseball as a home run.
I used to hit 6s. And my uncle, bless him, little proud, who made fun of me with my brothers and cousins, because only the men were playing. Go and put her there. And he was like, whatever. A cricket, and I hit, and he was like, everyone went like that. Because it's like, it was like, and then they didn't let me play again.
That's terrible.
Yeah. I was like, was that okay?
You're going to become like a major league, I don't know.
That was the only one and only time we played, I remember. That was it. Then he stopped making fun.
So, but his point was that if someone hits a home, a 6, then someone might be in the mood of like, what was the velocity? What was the distance? What was the trajectory? How did he hit it? analyzing everything, and that might titillate their, intelligence in some way that they kind of, they get a thrill out of it. He said, but the other side is the people who don't care what the trajectory was. It was just, wow, that was a great hit. And as soon as it goes over, you're like, yay! It's just a burst of emotion. And he was comparing that to tattva versus rasa. That there's the logic and the science behind it, and then there's just the feeling and the emotion behind it. So it's interesting because here you see, one side's crying out joyfully because he's like being killed, and the other side is morose, crying because Daksha's been killed. So text 26. Virabhadra then took the head with great anger and threw it into the southern side.
24.
Yeah, I just read it.
Oh.
That's what I commented on.
Oh, sorry.
See, it happens to the best of us. I know in a previous episode, you may remember, I was kind of laughed at and corrected because I missed it, which is good. It's true. It's a very good, valid point because I did space out. But, yeah.
Okay.
So, text 26. Virabhadra then took the head and with great anger threw it into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, offering it as an oblation.
So cool.
In this way, the followers of Lord Shiva devastated all the arrangements for sacrifice. After setting fire to the whole arena, they departed for their master's abode, Kailash.
So cool. Don't mess with them.
With them who? Them.
Lord Shiva's people. I mean, Daksha may have started it, but they definitely finished it. In style. Cut his head off and threw it into the same yagya that he had done. And then you smash everything up and then you set it on fire. It was bad enough what you did and beat everyone up and knock their teeth out and all that. And then you go on to Kailash to Shiva. Job done, boss. Sorted. I mean, you can't get better than that.
Well, yeah.
I think it's cool.
Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Frustration of the Sacrifice of Daksha.
I'd say it was a slight frustration of the sacrifice, yeah.
Slight, yeah. So do you want to finish there?
I think we finished because it's nice to start afresh.
Okay, so we'll start afresh tomorrow with Brahma satisfies Lord Shiva.
Yeah, because now you need to
make amends. Okay, thank you all very much. Please read the Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam.
There's Shiva and Sati, by the way.
Put it a little closer.
Can you see him?
Yeah. Okay. All right, Hare Krishna, everyone. All glories to Prabhupada. Hari Bol.